Hey, welcome to the Ogre's Forge. So what we're going to do is we're going to start a series of videos just for our blog and for our Facebook. Things that we're going to cover are how to take care of your knife, some forging techniques, kind of how we make knives here, some this and that, and Mrs. Ogre told me I couldn't be political, so we'll keep it just to the knives and the forge. So what we're going to talk about today is how to care for your knife. This is one of my son's knives, one of the first ones he built. You can see it's kind of nasty, get a little bit of rust on it, some wear. So when you have a knife that gets some rust on it, kind of the best way to take care of it, the easiest way for anybody without equipment or a shop like mine, is to take you some really fine steel wool, get you a little bit of mineral oil, put it on the blade, and then take your steel wool and just clean all the rust and junk off of it. Now, really fine steel wool, they won't scratch the blade too much. It will a little bit, it's slightly abrasive, but it will take all the rust off and clean it up. You can see already it looks cleaner. I did the other side prior to making the video. You can see how clean it is. There's some very, very minute scratch marks on here, but that's all right. At least your blade's not rusty. So the reason we use mineral oil is, and I use it when I ship my knives and stuff, I also use it when I quench, is because mineral oil can be ingested. So if you're like me, I use my knife for everything. I've been known to whip it out of the dinner table and cut some meat if my steak knife's not sharp enough. I always cut my apples and eat them and stuff. And so the oil that's on my blade, if I use some other caustic type oil, wouldn't be good for me to eat. But mineral oil is an oil that you can ingest. It's also good for the knives and it's good for the handles too. So that's why we use it. So, kind of over clean the knife. Now, if your knife gets dull, right, most people will go back to a stone. And really, if you're doing just simple things with your knife, skinning out a butt, just cutting stuff with it, you don't need to go back to a stone. You just need to dress the edge. You do that with a steel or with a strop, right? This is a strop. All the strop is made of is leather. You take some red rouge, rub it up and down in the leather really good, and then you're going to take your knife and draw away from the edge, just like this. And what that does is down there at the microscopic level, right? It just polishes that edge and brings that edge back to that good keen edge. Do it one way, flip it over, do it the other way. Right, and it addresses that edge back up. Now, if you do nick your knife, then you can go back to a stone. This is a combination stone. You pick it up at most hardware stores. You can get them online. It's got a fine side and a rough side. The rough side is usually about a 220 grit, and the fine side is about 1,000 grit. Now, if you get a nick, you got to work it out. What I like to do is I like to take, if it's a knife, my everyday carry knife, I like to get a finer, sharper edge. So you can take 2 pennies, put them on your stone, put your knife on your stone, and that'll tell you the angle that you need to sharpen your knife. And I'll just work on the portions of the knife that I need to get that nick out. Just in small circles, moving it back and forth, until I've worn that nick down on one side, and I'll turn it over the other side, make sure my angle's right, do the same thing on the other side, until I've worked that nick out. And you can take it from your rough side, turn it over to your fine side, which again is 1,000 grit. Take your pennies, put them on here, get your angle right, and you just clean up that edge. Now, one thing about sharpening a knife is it doesn't bring your knife to a perfect edge. what it does is the side that you have down, it removes steel, and you get a little burr at the edge of your knife. So if this is your knife blade, and I'm sharpening this side, what happens is I get a little burr that comes up over the top. And I can feel that burr by running my thumb against the direction that I was sharpening, and I can feel that burr right along the edge. Once I feel that burr there, then I know that I've sharpened to the very edge. I turn my knife over, do the other side, feel down the blade until I feel that burr, then I know I'm good. Right? I've gotten it on both sides, all the way to the edge. If I'm sharpening something that's like an axe or a large chopping knife, something like that, then I'll actually use a more aggressive edge, and I'll take 3 pennies and put them on here, and that gives me a little bit steeper angle for that type of knife or that type of tool. Once you're done with the 1000 grit, you go back to your strop. Again, drawing away from the edge. And what I'll do is I'll figure out which side has that burr on it, and that's the first side I'll start with. And as you're drawing it away, you're taking that burr that's on there and you're kind of straightening it out and you're wearing it away. You do it enough times on both ends, you'll bring your knife to an actual true edge. The rouge, the red rouge, is about a 4000 grit rouge. Depending on the manufacturer, some are less, some are more, but it's roughly around 4000 grit. So as you continue to strop your knife, if you were able to cut your knife in half and look at it at the microscopic level, you would actually get to almost a true point, a true edge. That's a little bit about the care of your knife, of your blade. If you have any questions, if I didn't cover something you want to hear, go ahead and comment below. We'll answer your questions on there. And don't be afraid to ask a question, because I'm sure everybody or somebody else can have the same question. Try to get them answered for you. Thank you for watching. Again, welcome to Ogre's Forge, and there should be a lot more videos like this coming. Also, if you have any requests for videos, things you want to see, go ahead and comment below, and we'll get those. Get to work on some of those videos as well. Thank you for joining the Ogre's Forge.